What is up, everybody? Welcome to the dungeon. My name is Caroline, aka Analytical Mystic. I am about to do your weekly tarot readings. Keep in mind these readings are general, they may not resonate with everybody. What I'll be doing is I'll be pulling one card for the general energy of the week, and then I will pull another card for the love energy of the week, because everybody wants to know about love, but not everybody has love in their life. So I'm doing both. All right, I have cleared my decks out with these awesome selenite sticks, and we are just gonna hop right into it. So starting out with Aries, let's see what is going on with Aries this week. What kind of energy will Aries encounter this week? It's too many. It's too many. I just need a card. Just one card for Aries. What kind of energy will Aries encounter over the next week? What's going on with Aries? Let me get my banners up. I always end up forgetting. All right, Aries, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So you are probably going to be really focused on work, your home life, building your stability, your job. I already said work. But you're really trying to lay down the foundation of what it is that you are trying to build in your life. Some of you may be having difficulty maintaining your home, and so this is exceptionally important to you because, well, your home depends on it. So you're kind of putting your nose to the grindstone here. Now, let's see what is going on in your love life. What's going on in Aries' love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Aries encounter in their love life over the next week? What's going on with Aries? Okay, we have the wheel. So you and your partner, well, not necessarily your, well, yeah, you and your partner, if you have a partner, you're at a major turning point in your relationship. This is the time whether or not you decide to continue to move forward or let go. Also, there could be an extremely large decision in regards to your partner and your family that is definitely going to change your life and take it to a completely different level. This is something that you are super excited about, but also nervous about. I think there may be some type of a little bit of insecurity there that you won't be able to maintain the what's the word I'm looking for? Maintain the stability of the relationship, the foundation. So you may be concerned that you won't be able to provide for your significant other. And this is leading you to take some sort of action that, again, changes the dynamic of your relationship. So some of you may be like moving for work because, you're trying to provide, make sure that you can provide, switching jobs, things are definitely, they're going in a new direction. They may not be like completely new, but it's different from where it is now or where it has been. Things are evolving. Hopefully not devolving, but things are changing. Let's just say that, okay? Now, I'll come back next week and we'll figure out some more on that. Where did I put that deck? hiding from me? All right, let's move on to Taurus. Oh, you guys, I forgot to remind y'all that I am also doing monthly tarot readings on Patreon. So I think I forgot to put the link in my bio, so I'll have to go back and do that later. But let's see what's going on with Taurus this week. What's up with Taurus this week? What is going on in Taurus's world this week? What kind of energy are they going to encounter? What is going on with Taurus? Okay. Taurus, you have the High Priestess. So you may be feeling like, you need to kind of keep to yourself a little bit, not necessarily detach from people, but, there's just a certain depth that you won't allow people to go to in your soul, because maybe they'll get lost. I'm joking, but at the same time, I'm not. You may have some sort of mysterious vibe about you that just kind of enthralls people. But hey, you're just kind of stuck in your head. Like, you may just literally be stuck in your head, and just trying to figure out like your place in life and where you need to go, your purpose, if you will. So you're taking that time out this week, or not necessarily taking that time out, but alongside everything that you're doing, this is on your mind. Now let's see what is going on in your love life, Taurus. What kind of energy will Taurus encounter in their love life over the next week? What is going on in Taurus's love life over the next week? Taurus, you have the King of Pentacles. So you may be in a situation where you are ready to commit to somebody, or you have met somebody that you feel like you can commit to having something serious and long term with. If you are already in a relationship, it's going good for the most part. Some of you may be struggling a bit financially, but for the most part, your relationship is doing well. It may be a little strained if you are struggling financially, but overall, you guys are pretty okay, pretty satisfied in your life together. There may be a level of connection between you and your partner that surpasses any type of stress that may occur um, in the process of, well, living life together. Those of you who are single, you're really focused on your work right now. You want to have it together. You don't want to be one of those people who is dependent on their partner when you are with them. So you are kind of working to make sure you have everything that you possibly need, and that you don't have to be dependent on a partner. Because if you don't have to be dependent on a partner, the quality of the relationship, like you have less tolerance for the mess, because you can provide on your own. You're not dependent on this person for anything. You want to be with them because you want to be with them. And if they're going to act a fool and treat you like crap, you're out, because you do not need them. You want them, and you will not tolerate the mess. All right, let us move on to Gemini. And I do feel like, to a certain extent, that does apply to relationships in general, because if you are in a committed relationship, one or both of you may be really focused on building your own wealth and your independence from each other, so you're not dependent on each other, and that actually leads to having a healthy relationship. So You can also teamwork. It works better when it's not all on one person. Let's move on to Gemini. Okay. Because, teamwork, stuff like that, it brings us closer together. It bonds you. So if, like, that's not working out so well, there's a dependency there. It's just, to a certain extent, the relationship is already paralyzed. Let's move on to Gemini. What is going on in Gemini's world over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter over the next week? What's going on with Gemini? What's going on with Gemini over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? Okay. Gemini, you have the Nine of Cups. So generally pretty satisfied with your life. Well, not just satisfied, you feel like you have what you want. Something that you have had a desire for is coming through. Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting for you. Bringing a lot of joy and optimism and happiness into your world. There may be some of you, got to take it here too, there may be some of you that aren't getting what you want. This is a situation that did not work out in your favor, or even if it did work out in your favor, it did not work out the way you wanted it to. So there may be a slight level of being dissatisfied with what has happened because it's not what you want. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not good for you, and that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not good for you. It's not going to benefit you in some way, shape, or form. It is, or else you wouldn't be here. Where am I? I'm confusing myself about where I'm setting these decks. Okay. Let's see what is going on in Gemini's love life. What's going on in Gemini's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Gemini encounter in their love life over the next week? What is going on with Gemini? What kind of energy will Gemini encounter in their love life? Six of Pentacles. So right now in your love life, you may be in a situation where you're trying to figure out if you and the person you have of interest, whether you feel the same way. Are you on the same level? Honestly, that's not necessarily just a single thing. This could also be in a relationship. Maybe you're feeling somewhat insecure in a relationship, or maybe you feel like you're putting all the effort into the situation and you're getting nothing in return from your partner. Be wary of that going to the extreme, because it could be one thing if there is some confusion, there's some uncertainty about what's going on. But if you are already in a committed relationship and you're the one doing all the work, well, that's not necessarily a healthy thing. So you might want to either have a talk to your significant other about the situation, or you need to walk away from it, because it's never a good dynamic with anyone when one person is putting more effort into the situation than the other. So for it to be in a committed relationship, well, then you may as well be in a relationship with yourself, because it's like talking to a wall. And who wants that? So definitely do not be afraid to stick up for yourself, to speak out. Don't let anybody take advantage of you, because you either get what you want or you don't. Either the person of interest or the person you care about puts an equal amount of effort into the situation, or y'all walk away from each other. Either way, there is a resolution that needs to come, and you will be happy with that resolution because the confusion is driving you insane. All right? And there are some of you who are single, you may just be interested in some people, and you're just kind of worried that they don't care the same way you do. So that you may be experiencing a little bit of insecurity about your ability to be with this person. So, all right, Gemini, that is your reading. Let us move on to Cancer. Let us see what is going on with Cancer. Oh my God. Oh my God. Half the deck jumped out. We're not reading half the deck, you guys. All right, let's get a card for Cancer. Let's see what kind of energy Cancer will encounter over the next week. What is going on with Cancer? What kind of energy will Cancer encounter over the next week? Cancer, you have the Queen of Swords. So you are in a state of mind where, in some situations, if you're going to school, you may be extremely focused on your studies. You don't necessarily have to go to school to be studying, so you could be doing research on other things. Either way, you're trying to enlighten yourself, gain some more wisdom to make sure that you know what you're talking about when you are talking. Because you may not always be talking. You may be kind of like distancing yourself from people, or just, you just don't have a lot to say. You're in your head for the most part. Some of you may definitely come off cold as a result of this, and you may be a little less empathetic than usual. This is not to say that you completely lack that, like you're full of apathy. This is not to say that. This just means that you are putting your empathy on the back burner. You're not letting it get in the way of reality, of the reality of the situation, of the wisdom that you have gained. You're not gonna let your emotions take over the situation. You can't. You got shit to do. You don't have time to be feeling some type of way because you got stuff to do. That's how you feel about it. So you're really trying to focus on gaining wisdom, enlightening yourself, and focus on your education, higher learning, and improving yourself in any way possible. Like, you don't have to necessarily be doing reading, studying, and whatnot to work to improve yourself, but you're very it's something you're very focused on. Like, you don't have time for the bullshit because you are trying to get your life together, and you're not fucking around about it either. All right, let's see what is going on in your love life, Cancer. What is going on in Cancer's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Cancer encounter in their love life over the next week? What is up with Cancer? Okay, we have the Magician, Cancer, for your love life. So you may be in a situation with somebody where, you're trying to bring the relationship into reality. You're not quite together yet, you're interested, you want to make it happen. You may feel like you're extremely connected to this person. That's why you want to make the relationship happen. You want to manifest it. However, do be wary of people who are trying to manipulate you and make you, feel some type of way that overrides your reason, overrides general logic. getting caught up in your emotions, like I was just saying, So there may be somebody who may be trying to take advantage of your emotions. And that also contributes to you kind of putting a cap to the level of emotion you're allowing yourself to feel right now. You don't want to be blinded by it and it leads you down a negative path, because that has happened before. If you are single and you have nobody of interest, this is something that you're really daydreaming about. Um, you may have a particular image of somebody that you continue to think about, and you are trying to manifest them in part by daydreaming about them and just thinking about them all the time. But at the same time, you're not trying to get caught up. So there's this back and forth. You're like, I don't want to necessarily be so focused on this. Um, that like I'm making this the focus of my life, of manifesting this situation. I don't want it to be like that. However, I do have this deep desire for partnership. So you may be having that desire for partnership, maybe trying to detach from that, so that you don't get manipulated or taken advantage of. All right, Gemini. Or my bad, not Gemini, that was Cancer. We are moving on to Leo. Let us see what is going on with Leo over the next week. What kind of energy will Leo encounter over the next week? How will it affect them? What is going on with Leo? What kind of energy will Leo encounter over the next week? And how will it affect them? What is going on with Leo? Leo, we have the Three of Pentacles here. So you may be working with other people to bring something into reality, working on a project with other people. You will benefit from collaboration and teamwork this week. You may be the type of person that typically likes to be independent and do things on your own, and you can, but the situation will go over more smoothly if you are working with other people on this project. With some people, there may be a bit of difficulty with working with other people. Like I said, maybe you're used to doing everything on your own, so you may have a harder time kind of stepping back and letting other people contribute ideas and whatnot about, excuse me, how to move forward from here. If you are not careful, your independence could really shoot you in the foot. So be open to working with other people. Some of you, something's going on where you may need to ask for help of some sort, and so that may hurt your pride a little bit, but you need to get the fuck over your pride because you need this. Let's see what is going on in your love life. Leo, what is going on in your love life over the next week? What is going on in Leo's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? What is going on with Leo? Leo, you have the Ten of Pentacles. So you are trying to bring stability to your partnership. Perhaps you guys have been going through a difficult time, and you really again, you really need to get over your pride in regards to this situation and be open to working things out with your partner, because like this is a very important relationship to you, partnership, situationship even. It's very important to you, and it's not something that you really want to lose. You want to kind of explore this, you want to build upon it. But in order to do that, you have to be open to the other person. You have to be open to collaborating, to working with. You have to be open to um, stepping away a bit from being so independent. I'm not telling you to be dependent on your partner. I'm just telling you to don't be so independent that you're just like the other person is um, reaching out to you and you just kind of don't reach back, because it's uncomfortable and you don't like asking for that. And you want to be able to manage everything on your own. Um, don't be afraid to let your partner help you. Honestly, it can only strengthen your relationship. It can only strengthen your relationship. You will bond through your collaboration. Um, Others of you who may be single, you're really trying to get your life together so that you are prepared to have a relationship when it arrives. Um, you want to be able to bring, you want to be able to be independent so that when you are actually with somebody, you are not depending on them. They're not having to put all the work in. You can work together. You can collaborate. And it's just not a toxic relationship where somebody's taking advantage of the other. One person's putting in more effort, putting in more work, and the other one's like riding the success, like without like doing anything to contribute or to support. Um, and the relationship can truly suffer. It can truly suffer. But yeah, there definitely is a focus on bringing some stability in your life to the benefit of your relationship or your future relationships. Okay. Sounds pretty cool, Leo. Let's move on to Voido. What is going on with Virgos over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter over the next week? What's going on with Virgo? What is going on with Virgo over the next week? What kind of energy will they encounter? Stuff with Virgo. Virgo, you have the Emperor. So you are trying to take control of your life. Things have been rocky, they've been bumpy for quite some time. There has been a certain lack of stability going on, and you're trying to rebuild that. You're trying to bring the structure back into your life. You're trying to take control of the situation of what's going on in your life. Some of you may be in a situation of authority where you are managing the situation. Be careful not to be so authoritative. Um, Try not to be so caught up in your power that you abuse it. Be careful. Don't be too pushy. Don't be too bossy. I mean, you may be the boss, you may be the manager of this situation, but if you push your weight around and boss people around and use your position of authority as a reason or excuse to justify your behavior, this could definitely be to your detriment, because there will be a rebellion, if you will. With the Emperor, there will be a rebellion, if you will. There will be conflict that comes as a result, because You may be working with like-minded individuals. So people who are also hard-headed and, they know what they want and how they want things done. And you may not like this because you may disagree with that. But I feel like you need to be more open because there is strength that comes from being open to other people's opinions. I feel like this is very similar to the reading I just did, where it's like you got to be open to collaboration. You can't just focus on being the boss. You have to be open to what the people who work for you have to say, because without them, how would you have success? How would you find success? Um, yeah, some of you may be going a little too hard on this Emperor energy. You may be getting super controlling and arrogant, and this could definitely be to your detriment. It could cause you to fall from the position that you were in. So don't don't use this to take advantage of other people. If anything, use your power and position to lift people up. Okay. Let's see what's going on in Virgo's love life. What is going on in Virgo's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Virgo encounter over the next week? What is going on with Virgo in their love life? We have the Ten of Pentacles again. I feel like I've pulled this card a lot already, and we're only like 6 signs in, something like that. Okay, so here with the Ten of Pentacles, you're extremely focused on the stability of your relationship. Your relationship is priority to you more than anything. And so you're extremely focused on being able to provide for them. You could actually kind of be stressed out about this. Because I don't know, to a certain extent, I think there's a bit of insecurity that you won't be able to hear, that you don't have the ability to provide, and that can have you behaving in a way that is not flattering to your character. So like the stress may be causing issues in your relationship, and perhaps I kind of feel like to a certain extent this has to do with the lack of communication. You feel like you can do things on your own, but again, this is where collaboration really comes to an effect. It'll work to your benefit to have a conversation with your partner about how you are going to maintain this situation or work through this difficult period. I feel like there are some people who their relationship has come to an end, and this is a very serious relationship, like this close to like marriage status. Like you wouldn't get married, maybe you wouldn't get married, but the level of love and affection and desire is there, and the same level. But you may be in a situation where your attitude has been detrimental to your relationship. So you may be so used to being in a position of authority that you're bringing that into your relationship, and that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea. That will be to your detriment, because a relationship is not a partnership, or it is a partnership. A relationship is a partnership. Okay, it's not a dictatorship. It's not a situation where one's a manager and a supervisor and the other one's an employee. That's not the way things go. It's not the way things go in a healthy relationship, anyways. So, again, watch your attitude, because your arrogance or belief that you have everything together and it's your way or the highway, that is definitely going to lead people to choose the highway instead of your way. So I'm just saying, this is your warning. Be careful with that. Um, and there may be many of you that are like so stressed out about the stability of your relationship that it's leading you to be kind of like a dictator in your position of authority, like whatever you're doing, because it's not necessarily just work. Like there are other ways that we collaborate with people, where you may have kind of like the management position where you're kind of like the leader, if you will, um, and you may be kind of like going a little overboard, but like you might be super controlling about the situation, but it's because you're worried about the stability of your home and the stability of your relationship, the ability to provide for your family. You're worried about that. The stress is bleeding into what you are doing. So you need to kind of be hyper vigilant of that. Try not to allow your anxiety and stress affect people negatively. But unfortunately, this anxiety and stress kind of leads you to want to have more control over the situation. You don't like being out of control of your feelings. So again, just be careful. Be careful with trying to act like you don't feel, because that could get in your way big time. Definitely be a detriment to your relationship. All right, let's move on to Libra. Let's see what is going on with Libra over the next week. We just need one card, please. To get one card to see what is going on with Libra over the next week. What kind of energy will Libra encounter over the next week? And how will it affect them? Libra, you have the Queen of Cups. So you may be feeling a little bit more emotional than usual this week. Um, you definitely need to be aware of people trying to take advantage of this. They may think or consider you to kind of be a bit of a pushover when you're in your emotions. And so they may be trying to take advantage of this period where you're caught up in your emotions. But so beware of people being manipulative toward you. But quite honestly, if you're in the right mood, the right vibe, you could be the one who is being manipulative towards somebody else. You want to have control over the situation because your feelings are out of control. But that could be your folly. That could definitely get in the way of a lot of situations, because as we have already discussed, being too controlling, too bossy, being too caught up in the management of the situation can get in the way of your success. It could lead you to self-sabotage. So, don't put out there what you don't want to receive. I'm just saying, karma happens. Like, if you don't believe in karma, well, there's cause and reaction. There's action and reaction, cause and effect, etc. So be careful about your actions because there will be a reaction. And if you don't like the reaction, it has a lot to do with your actions. So, not everything, because you can't control other people. You can't, but it may be influenced by this. Um, Others of you may just be feeling extremely loving and affectionate towards the people you care about. You want to look after them, make sure they're good. Um, you want everybody to be happy, because when everybody else is happy, it makes you happy. You love to see people in a good place mentally, emotionally, um, and so you may be trying to do everything that you can to contribute to this. But again, you need to make sure that people don't take advantage of that, because a lot of times when you are the type of person that likes to help people, other people tend to take advantage of that. So be careful of that. Hello there, welcome. All right, let's move on to Scorpio. Or no, wait, we gotta do Libra's love life. Oh my gosh, how could I forget Libra? I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's hop to it. What is going on in Libra's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Libra encounter in their love life over the next week, and how will it affect them? What is going on in Libra's love life? We have the World. So we have come around full circle. You are in a position in your relationship where, there is a certain phase that is coming to a conclusion. And it's like you're at a point where you have to make a choice about this situation because it's coming to a conclusion, whether you like it or not. And your relationship will either, well, evolve or devolve. There will either be an ending to the situation or a new phase. This definitely depends on what you have going on in your life and your ability to handle your emotions. Because, again, as I was saying, you're feeling a little extra emotional. So it seems like as a result of you feeling extra emotional, it is going to affect your love life, your partnership, and your lack thereof if you don't have one. But at the same time, there's certain things about this period of time, whether you're in a relationship or not. There's certain things that have been occurring. It's coming to a conclusion. It's coming to an end, and we're entering into a new phase. Hopefully, it's positive, but it really depends on your situation because, like I said, something could be coming to an end. Simultaneously, an ending can be a positive thing if the thing that is coming to an end has been a negative thing. So it's just kind of like the time is now. It's decision time. It's crunch time. The time is now. We've been going through a certain cycle in regards to your relationship, and again, it's come around full circle. It's come around full circle, and it's time to decide. It's time to decide whether or not to move forward or let things go. If you're single, you may be getting to a point where you're okay with that. Even though you feel so deeply and have a desire to have love for someone, um, You're starting to get to a point where you're okay, not. You're okay. You're okay if things don't work out. It's gonna suck. It'll hurt you. You'll be upset, no doubt, because you do care. You care a lot about this situation. But you're in a place of acceptance. Acceptance of, being on your own. If you're okay with it, you're okay with it. Maybe a situation where it's like if you have the choice to be with somebody or alone, you'd rather be alone. You don't want to feel. You don't want to be attached. You don't want somebody to have that power over you. But it's like, but you do want a partnership. So you got to find some sort of balance here. And that is what we are working on. We're working on coming into balance. All right, Libra, that is it. We are now moving on to Scorpio. Let's see, what is going on with Scorpio? What is going on with Scorpio this week? What kind of energy will they encounter over the next week? And how will it affect them? What's going on with Scorpio? What's going on with Scorpio? We have the Eight of Swords. So right now you are in a situation where you feel kind of helpless. You feel like there's really nothing you can do about what is going on right now. You don't have any ideas. And even if other people have ideas, you're not receptive to them. Like if other people are trying to kind of talk to you about how to handle this situation, you don't hear it. It goes through one ear and out the other, because as far as you're concerned, you can't do anything right now. As far as you're concerned, your hands are tied. But there actually may be something that you can do about the situation. You're just so caught up in your head that you may be feeling kind of negative and hopeless. All right, Scorpio, let's see what's going on in your love life. Scorpio, what is going on in your love life over the next week? Scorpio, you have the Three of Wands. You may be waiting for some sort of communication from somebody. This could be your partner or just a love interest. There's something that is not being talked about, acknowledged, or said. This is upsetting to you. You really feel like, you don't have control over what this other person is doing. You have no control over their actions and desires, so you're kind of at their mercy. It's like you're waiting. You're waiting to hear from them. You're open to talking, but they may not be so open. Some of you who may be single, you may be kind of like waiting for the right time. You wait for the right time. You want to wait for things to be the way you want them to be before you have a relationship. So you may be trying to prepare for a partnership. Simultaneously, you may feel like you don't have anything to offer. And so you kind of want to wait before you do anything, but don't wait too long. Don't wait too long, because the other person may not be there when you decide to take action. If you wait too long. I know I know that you can have a hard time seeing through your emotions, and perhaps that's why you are reluctant to take action. But again, if you wait too long, the other person may not be there, you know? If you do have a conversation, you may not like what is being said. Like, you don't want to hear it. You hear it, but you don't want to. Some of you, you'd really just like to have somebody to talk to, but there's nobody. And that makes you sad, or you feel like you have nobody that you can talk to. Like, there could be people actually trying to reach out to you that do want to communicate with you, but like, you don't see it. You don't see it. You're not receptive to that. Which is crazy, because you do want to communicate. So something's holding you back. Interesting. All right, Scorpio, come back next week. We'll see what else is going on. In the meantime, let's move on to Sagittarius. Let's see what's going on with my Saggies over the next month. What kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter over the next month? How will it affect them? What's going on with Sagittarius? Kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter over the next month? Not month, week. I'm sorry, over the next week. I just finished up some monthlies that I am about to post on Patreon, so go ahead and check those out. We have the Nine of Cups. So Sagittarius, you may be feeling really good this week. Like, something that you have wanted for a while, it has occurred, it has happened, it has manifested, and you are super happy. This is something that you may have been stressing about for a very, very long time, so you're super happy that this is finally happening. There may be some of you who you're working hard to bring this desire into reality, but it's not quite there yet. And unfortunately, there may be some of you that don't get what you want. It doesn't work out the way you want to, and you may be inclined to throw a little tantrum, but what good is that going to do you? It's really not going to get anything efficient done. It might make you feel good momentarily, but it's not necessarily good. And that's just, in regards to if you are exploding on other people. I do think it's important to find an outlet for those emotions, because they're there. They're there, and they're going to be there. And the more you hold them in and stuff them down, that's not good. You're really going to explode on people if you do that. So definitely try to find some sort of outlet that you really enjoy, makes you very happy, and yet so it kind of transmutes whatever negativity you may be feeling. And I think that you may be getting to a point where you have found something like that, and that's part of the reason that you're feeling good. Like, even if you're not feeling good, you feel good because you are able to handle it in a more productive way. So that's good. It's actually really good. I think that's awesome. I think that is very awesome. It's awesome for anybody to get to that place. Now let's see what's going on in Sagittarius's love life. All right, what is going on in Sagittarius's love life over the next week? We only need one card, thank you. What is going on in Sagittarius's love life over the next week? What kind of energy will Sagittarius encounter? drink of water. Okay. Sagittarius, you have the Page of Swords for your love life. So, quite honestly, some of you may be creeping, or stalking, I guess you could say. I don't necessarily, feel like stalking is the right word, because, like, when it comes to being online, you're putting all your stuff out there anyway, so somebody's going to see it. But you may be kind of like actively checking up on this person's page regularly. You just want to see what they're doing. In other situations, you may be you're trying to learn more about somebody. So you may not be talking a whole lot, but you are observing. You're observing how this other person is acting, behaving, their personality. You want to get to know who they really are before you are in a position where you enter into a relationship with them. Maybe in the past you've just jumped right in without getting to know the person, and next thing you know, you've entered into a world of drama that was already there. You just didn't know because you didn't take the time to figure it out. So you're trying to do things a little bit differently this time. You're trying to stop and think before you react, which is actually really great. And that's one of the things I was actually trying to convey with the general energies. Like, pause a moment before you react. But going back to the Page of Swords here, if you are actually in a committed relationship with somebody, yeah, you may be distant. You're not really talking to them very much right now. If you do, it could be like very short, covering the basics, the necessities, basically. You're conversing about the necessities. Otherwise, you're not really expressing yourself a whole lot right now. You are in a place of observation, which is interesting because you're always about expressing yourself. But something about the situation has you stepping back, has you taking a step back and dealing with it differently. You want to make sure that you deal with it properly, in the proper way, because like usually you get it all mixed up. You get it all mixed up. Like, you'll treat somebody who's crazy well, and then somebody stable comes along and you'll be the crazy one. Like that, you get it like all mixed up. So you're trying to get it right this time because it's important to you, whether you're with somebody or not. Like, you want to get it right this time. Like, you want to have a healthy relationship, and typically that starts with getting to know somebody. So that may be what you are working on at the moment. I kind of feel like I should say some of you are given the silent treatment too. Which is funny, and it will definitely get the other person's attention because typically you talk a lot. That's kind of funny to me. I think eventually there will be some conversation that goes on. In some cases, it could be petty. Honestly, there could be some back and forth that goes on. In other cases, it's just going to bring some enlightenment to the situation. But even then, like, it's not going to be a long, in-depth conversation. It's short and sweet, you know. And if it is a long and in-depth conversation, that won't happen again for a very long time. It's kind of like, enjoy it while it lasts. Discuss what you want to now, because you won't have the opportunity again in a while, or for a while. All right. Now, that's it, Sagittarius. Let's move on to Capricorn. Oh, my back hurts. Okay. Excuse me. Sorry about that, you guys. Let's see what's going on with Capricorn. What kind of energy will Capricorn encounter over the next week? What is going on with Capricorn? Alright, that's the wrong deck. That was the wrong deck. I did get the Two of Wands, so I will throw out there, you may be trying to just make a decision about a situation. But let's get another card, a different card from a different deck. See what's going on in Capricorn's world over the next week. Okay. Seven of Wands. So you may be in a situation where you have your guard up. You're not really letting very many people in. Perhaps you have had conflict with people. You may be in a situation where you're constantly explaining yourself. If not constantly, you're explaining yourself, you're explaining your actions, your thoughts, behaviors, etc. And there may be a back and forth with somebody. I think you may feel like you have the upper hand, but don't get too caught up in that. I feel like you are fighting hard for your position, for your rights, and you're encountering a lot of resistance. So you're having to like plead your case on why this needs to be the way it needs to be, the way you're trying to make it be, or why things are the way they are. All right, Capricorn, let's see what is going on in your love life. What's going on in Capricorn's love life over the next week? Okay, Capricorn, you have the King of Wands, so you may be feeling very highly sexed this week, you and your partner, maybe indulging quite a lot. If you and your partner have kind of been arguing or going at it, y'all do have make-up sex, or maybe the anger bang. Either way, there's still a huge level of attraction between you and your partner, whether you've had conflict or not. If you and your partner are having conflict, you need to kind of check yourself a little bit, because you may be a little bossy, maybe a little controlling, and maybe in a state of like my way or the highway. That is not how relationships work. That is not how partnerships work. Granted, boundaries are important, but when you are in a partnership, it's about teamwork. It's not just about the way one person wants things to be. It's about teamwork. And teamwork isn't always easy. Sometimes you have got to talk about things. Sometimes there are misunderstandings, and there needs to be times when you clear up those misunderstandings. So you may need to actually really check yourself and make sure you don't get too arrogant in this situation, because it could be I feel like I'm using this word a lot today. It could be to the detriment of your relationship. I feel like I'm using that word in regard like a lot of the same energy, being like too controlling and feeling like it's all about the way you want things. You gotta check yourself. If you're single, you are wanting to go out and have a good time. You want to play. You want to play. Even if you're not going out and doing that, it's what you desire. You want to hang out with somebody, you want to hook up, but you may be dealing with a lot of stuff that's kind of making it hard for you to, kind of address that area of your life. But yeah, if you're single, you're really not looking for anything serious. You just want to have fun, and keep it surface level. All right. I hear you. I don't hate you. No judgment here, man. Do your thing. Do your thing, lang ding dong. All right. Let's see what is going on with Aquarius. What is going on with Aquarius over the next week? What kind of energy will Aquarius encounter over the next week? What kind of energy is going on with Aquarius? How will it affect them? Swear, it's like the theme of this week's energy is collaboration. It's interesting. So we have the Lovers card here. So you may be in partnership with somebody or trying to make a very important decision about your life, and involves something you're extremely passionate about. So it's not something you should take lightly. It's definitely something that you need to be careful in regards to what influences your decision. You don't want to make your decision based upon people who are ill-informed. They are not aware of the whole situation. They know only part of the situation and are giving you their opinion about part of the situation. Be careful with that, because at the end of the day, this is your situation. They're not experiencing it. They may have some good points, but at the end of the day, you have to deal with the results of your actions and your decisions. So, don't jump too quickly into this decision. And again, just be open to working with people. Be open to other people's, um, opinions and thoughts. But at the end of the day, you have the final say. But again, don't same as everybody else. Don't get caught up in that energy. Don't get carried away with having that quote unquote power over people. Let's see what's going on in your love life, Aquarius. What is going on in Aquarius's love life over the next week? What is going on with Aquarius in their love life? We have the Fool. You don't know what's gonna happen. You have no clue. If you're single, it's just kind of like you don't know what's gonna happen moving forward. Right now, you're single, and it is what it is. You can meet anybody at any time. You could be single for a very long time. You don't know. You're just jumping into the unknown and having faith that things will work out the way they're supposed to, even if that is you being alone. There may be a potential relationship or a choice that you have to make in a relationship where it definitely requires that faith in the relationship. You have to take that leap, you have to take that risk. But you're not really sure if you want to, because it's the unknown. And you want to know. You want to know. You want to know what's going on. But this is kind of like you don't know. And you're going to have to be okay with not knowing to move forward. You're uncomfortable with it. But at the same time, you are trying your best to go with the flow. You're trying to let go of the wheel and letting the universe take you where you are supposed to go. but to a certain extent, there is a choice that you have to make. To a certain extent, you do have a choice. The universe will guide you, but you do have a choice to make. That's very, very important. You definitely want to consider all your options. Excuse me. In regards to this stuff, you definitely want to consider all your options moving forward. What risks are you willing to take? Ask yourself that. And what risks are you willing to take for who? Or whom? Or whatever. It's definitely something that you are going to be thinking a lot about this week. And you may be so confused about what decision to make that you don't make a decision and you try to let life make that decision. So I don't know. I would say just kind of go with what you feel works for you. If you know what you want, do it. If you don't, let life do it for you. Just go with the flow, and that's where jumping into the unknown and having faith comes into the picture. Right. And last but not least, Pisces. What is up, Pisces? Let's see what is going on with my Pisceans over the next week. What is up with Pisces? Kind of energy will Pisces encounter over the next week? What is going on with Pisces? What kind of energy will Pisces encounter? Pisces, you have the Four of Pentacles. So you may be kind of keeping to yourself right now. You're holding back. You're not putting it all out there. Some of you may be extremely focused on saving right now. And some of you, there are just there's something that you really don't want to let go of. And this is heavy on your mind this week, that you don't want to let it go. You don't want to lose this. And you may be trying to decide what it is that you can do to make sure that that does not happen. That's pretty clear. All right, let's go on to your love life, Pisces. Because, you have your guard up, plain and simple. There are just certain things you are not speaking about. All right, let's see what is going on in your love life over the next week. I need one card, Pisces, just one card. What's going on in your love life? We have the Queen of Swords. So Pisces here with the Queen of Swords, you're trying to focus more on the reality of the situation. What is? You're trying to detach yourself from your emotions because, you tend to be an emotional person. And, it can kind of take over the way you behave and that you react. And you don't want to get out of control. You don't want to get so caught up in your emotions like you usually are, that you make rash decisions based upon it. So you're trying to take a moment to kind of, step back and really think about the situation. You may come off as distant and cold to your partner or a significant other or whomever because you're stepping back. But this is something that you really, really need to do so you can figure out what you need to do moving forward. Because you have a lot of uncertainty in regards to your current relationship. You feel like there are some things that you're not seeing. because you're so caught up in your emotions. So again, that's why you're trying to detach, so you can kind of sift through things a little bit more easy. Um, you may be dealing with somebody where you have like an intellectual connection with. This isn't just like a caught up in love and passion, and that's just it. You can't sit there and have like a 4 hour conversation about life. Um, this person, yeah, you can have that conversation, but at the same time, you do realize that just because you can have a conversation like that with somebody, it doesn't mean they're the one. It just means that y'all are really connected. So again, trying to not let these overwhelming feelings take over. If you are single, you may be going through a lot of heartache. You don't want to feel it. You don't want to feel it. You don't want to feel these emotions. So you are attempting to cut yourself off from this. You're holding back. You're stuffing it down. Long term will definitely fuck you up. And so it's ideal. It's a good idea to kind of work through these things now. So having the Queen of Swords energy isn't necessarily a bad thing for you, Pisces, because you do need to kind of look at things from a logical point of view. But I would say, just don't cut yourself off too much from somebody. Don't be too cold. Don't be too distant. Just be open and receptive, but just check your emotions. I mean, that's what you're doing. That's what you're trying to do. So, and that's good. That's all you can do right now, really. But this is also kind of why you're keeping to yourself. Why you're holding back. You're holding back those emotions. So, all right, we will see how that goes this week, Pisces. You guys, that is all the readings for the week. I hope they resonate in some way, shape, or form. Hello, Tarot High Priestess. I hope the reading resonated, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, everybody. I will see you all next week.